Today I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to make your video editing just a little bit better or just a little bit more interesting. And it's really simple tips, so you don't need to be an expert to get things going. Hi, my name is Bic Walker and my aim here is to get makers and creators turning their hobby into a real business that makes them consistent income. Alright, so tip number 1 is really easy. So if you're doing something like this, like 5 tips or 10 top tips, you could just point up and have some sound effects like a bell. Tip number 1, ding ding. This is found on the left hand side under the audio button. In the drop down menu, you'll find lots of options for different sounds that you should just try out. Tip number 2, tip number 3, tip number 4. So that just breaks up the video with just some sound effects, which is really good. You could also do things like a slide sound effect, so you can just move your fingers and have something slide across the screen and then have a sound effect for that. Tip number 2 is to include some graphics. I personally use Photoshop, but you could use Paint or anything that's free. If you've got, like, say, a piece of graphic, save it as a .png like this, and that means that if your background of the graphics, and I don't have much time to get into graphics at the moment, but for those who do know a little bit about Photoshop and a little bit about photo editing, if your background is transparent, then you can import the graphics in as a .png and it will take away the background, and then when you import it in the window, the graphics, the word or the graphics just comes up and you have a transparent background, which means it's not covering your video. And you can do this with things like pretty borders as well, just to, you know, give it some interest, like flowers or graphics or text or just a nice plain border. Tip number 3 is if you have a still image. So let's say you were talking about something in your video and you needed an example. Like my last video, I talked about photographing and I put a lot of photographs in as an example. If you're using iMovie, there's a function called Can Burn, and you can zoom in and out and you can pan it across, which makes it look like it's moving, so it's not just a still image, and that makes it a little more interesting as a video. Tip number 4 is to punch in and punch out. Again, if you're using iMovie, you could use the crop button and you can crop into your face. So if you're saying something to emphasize a word like crop in, you could just split the video and you zoom into your face and you zoom back out again really quickly, and that just gives it some kind of movement. If you are enjoying this video, it's a short one, I know, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell, and it'll be really great if you could share this video also to anyone who might find it interesting, or any other people who might want to create their own YouTube channel or their own videos for their social media. And if you could leave me a like and a comment, that would also increase the algorithm of YouTube, so that it'll help more makers and creators find me, so that I could reach more people and help them as well. Where am I up to? Tip number 5 is stop motion. So you could do a series of images, like some people walking away. So if you don't want to do a continuous video, you could just put still pictures consecutively of the motion, but cut them up so that they're not like a video, they're not continuous. For example, people walking towards you or people walking away. You could even do things like adding graphics into it as a stop motion. The bonus tip, which I'll give you a little glimpse of, is a transition. And I'm going to do a whole new video on transitions and just show you a few transitions that you can use for your movie in the next video. But for now, you could do something like spinning a lazy Susan. So if you're doing a cooking show, for example, and you want to have a seamless transition, you can put some of the ingredients in a bowl and you spin the lazy Susan in a direction, and then when you edit, you cut that out and then you put another footage with the same direction spin, and it shows you the complete process of the cooking video. And obviously you've got to put in a lot more methods in between, but at the beginning, you could have an introduction with a very quick overview of the ingredients and then the finished product. Another really simple transition is the clicking of the fingers. So you can just click, something appears in your hand when you edit and cut the video. So there's lots of different little transitions like that.